All right, I am here with Heidi Shephered of the Butcher Babies. Sorry, Heidi, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Good morning.
I've
How
met
are you?
Carla before, but I have not met you before. So glad to be here.
Thank you. Me too.
Man, before we get started, what a fucking week in music with Mike Howe dying from Metal Church, Joey Jordison from Slipknot, Dusty Hill from ZZ Top. I mean, it's been a fucking disaster.
Yeah, all incredible people and huge inspirations for me personally. So it definitely was kind of a kick in the face in the rock world, I guess music world altogether. They're huge influences for across all genres. So I was lucky enough to tour with Mike in 2016, and he was nothing but a sweetheart. And I've always loved Joey, excuse me, and Dusty is a huge inspiration as well. So it's been a wild week, but at least their legacy will live on through their music.
Yeah, I was just reading an article this morning. I guess Mike Howe was suicide, I guess, which is just a bummer.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess it was. I guess he hung himself supposedly. So it's a horrible thing.
Yeah, I had no idea. Wow, that is really sad.
On a more positive note, you guys have the Butcher Babies versus Goliath tour coming up. It's your first tour since the COVID pandemic,
Yes.
with all female fronted bands: Infected Rain, Stitched Up Heart, Kaleido. You can get tickets at butcherbabies.com. The thing I'm curious about, is now more than ever, there's this huge debate about the term female fronted and this and that. And there's some people that are like, we need to get rid of it. Who fucking cares? Let's just not acknowledge it. A band is a band. But then there's other people, that think the term is empowering. And I know you have like the Sisters that Slay playlist and stuff like
Yeah.
that. How do you feel about that? I mean, I could see both sides of the coin.
Well, totally. And when we first started, we really were against the term, and there weren't very many females in the rock and metal world. I mean, it was definitely not how it is today, where uh, we are blessed with so many chicks out there that kick ass. But when we started, there weren't very many, and it was a weird thing to be compared to Hailstorm, which we are nothing like Hailstorm. And I love that band, but we are nothing like them. And it felt weird. And it was like, why can't we just be recognized as a band rather than, this band has chicks in it? Well, as the years have gone on, I mean, it's been 12 years since Butcher Babies started. As the years have gone on, I think it's more of a term of a movement rather than anything. Whereas women felt empowered to come forward and be like, I can kick just as much ass. We're infiltrating this boys' club. And honestly, I don't find offense to it at all anymore by any means. I think that, it's not a genre by any means. If people use it as a genre, that's their own weirdness. I mean, there's so many weird subgenres of metal, but um, I look at it as not anything to be embarrassed or feel weird about, like, oh, they only look at us as chicks in bands, because girls have really had to fight and knock down so many barriers to be where we are today in the rock and metal world. So I kind of look at it as like, we're a club. We all did this together. We fought hard over the past 12 years to be where we are, and sometimes it was harder because we were, girls trying to get into this male dominated industry, but it's definitely not something that I look at as a negative thing anymore. I just, like I said, I see it as a movement. Female fronted is a movement.
Well, what I love about your view on that is you've said before, like when one of us wins, we all win. Referring to I
Yeah.
guess female led bands, and it's so much different now as opposed to back in the day. If you think of like the when there was a lot of like feuds, like maybe Axl Rose versus Vince Neil back in the day, and things like that, and things are totally different now. It's a much more positive society on whether it's just bands in general. So I do like your viewpoint on that.
Oh, thanks. It's crazy because we all grow to see things differently as we get older. And, sometimes. But, as I've gotten older, I just don't think that that is a battle that needs to really be fought as hard as it is. I think we all need to choose our battles. And that to me, uh, if you look at it in a positive light, just like pretty much anything else in life, you look at it a positive light, you'll start seeing the world a little bit differently. So that's kind of how I feel about that.
On this tour coming up, Butcher Babies versus Goliath, you're playing your first album, Goliath, in its entirety. Which
Yeah.
I think you guys did that for a live stream too. Is that right?
Yeah, we did. And that's why we decided to do it as a tour because the feedback was crazy. People were so excited to hear these songs because some of these songs we haven't played in almost 10 years. And some of them we wrote over 10 years ago. So it's exciting for our longtime fans. And then people, even who are new to our fan base, they've heard the album. So, it's exciting for us to be able to play it.
Where did the idea for that come from? Because I feel like, playing an album in its entirety is because I think that album is what, 8 years old now.
Yeah.
And normally that's like a 10 or 15 or 20-year kind of anniversary thing. So were you guys, I know it started with the live stream, but were you going to do this like prior to COVID? Were there plans to do this, or was it just like a let's do something special? And now with this being the first tour back from COVID.
I lost you.
Oh, you can boy.
I lost you.
Can you hear me?
There you are.
Can you hear me okay?
I heard you right there. I don't know. It cut out for a sec.
And I really hate Zoom. I gotta tell you, there's always issues.
Yeah, that's super weird. I don't know. Okay,
Is it,
so
is it good now?
yeah, you're good now.
All
Okay,
right.
so what did you what yeah, it's not we did it for the live stream just because we thought it would be fun. But yeah, it was more of an anniversary for the band because last year was supposed to be our 10-year anniversary as a band, and we started writing these songs about 10 years ago. For us, it's just fun as a throwback. I don't really care that it's a little bit early.
But in a way, it's like the greatest thing because with touring coming back this fall, there's so much competition. The market is so oversaturated. So in a way, it's like a special event and something that can kind of help you stand out from every other band on the planet that's touring. At the same time.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's so excited to come back, and we are no different in that. I just honestly, it was purely because the feedback was so high from our live stream. So we decided to tour with it. Plus, we dug in and we relearned these songs and we practiced them so hard. And who knows, maybe you'll get a live album out of it for the real 10-year anniversary. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, speaking of albums, you guys have been releasing all these singles like Last Dance and Yorktown, Bottom of a Bottle, Sleeping with the Enemy, all that stuff. And, I know you guys have talked about, I know all these songs will be put together on one release, but, in today's day and age with streaming, it almost feels like this is the way to go, is just singles, because I feel like with a whole album these days, with all the different Spotify playlists and things like that, it's so easy to, uh, you could listen to the whole album and then kind of forget about it or whatever, go back to it from time to
Yeah.
time. But now with these singles coming out, it gives everybody something to look forward to, every once in a while when you guys got a new song come.
Yeah, I agree. It also gives us something to look forward to too, because each song on every single album that you write, at least for us, I don't like having filler on my albums. I think that it's something that I've put all my energy into making each song perfect in my own head. So I want to be able to give each song that energy back when it comes to the release. I feel like each song should have a life of its own. And when you release an entire album and you get 4 singles off of an album or whatever the case may be, you don't really get to let each song breathe like that. And so it's been really amazing to give each project because songs aren't just songs. To an artist, it's a project. You put so much of yourself into these songs. So giving it the proper release it deserves, giving it imagery, giving it art, giving it, uh, you know, a music video, merch, everything. So to us, it's really important to be able to let those breathe.
So take me back to the beginning real quick. I know that obviously you and Carla it was a cover band, I think, where like there was like 5 female vocalists or whatever, and then Butcher Babies kind of came from that. Um, but how did you guys, I guess you in particular, since Carla's not here, but how did you go from because I know you're from Utah and I know the whole Mormon thing and all that, but how did you get from all of that into a band? Because you were originally you were a radio DJ, is that right?
Yeah, I was a radio DJ for 7 years. I did mornings, which is ironic because this is early for me and I'm 10 a.m. here right now. so, but I used to have to be to work at 3:30 in the morning and I absolutely loved it. It was the best time of my life. Well, I won't say that. I had a great time, but this band is the best time of my life.
Sure.
But I've always been into music. I grew up around music. My dad is the middle of 12 kids and he has a
Oh my
family
God.
band. Yeah, he has a family band. So every time that we get together, whether it's a wedding, a funeral, a hangout, reunion, whatever, it doesn't matter. Everyone brings their instruments. Growing up, my living room, my parents, their living room was half studio, half living room. So they had the electronic drum kit set up. They have all the instruments you could need, and a way to a PA for vocals, everything. So it's just something I grew up around, something I loved, something that I never knew was actually possible to do on, a real scale. And I always said, 1 in a million, 1 in a million. And I moved to Los Angeles for radio. I actually got a job at a Sirius XM station back in the day, and that's what brought me to LA. And then when I was there, I just kind of, in a way, people introduced you to other people, and other people just down the line um, became that old cover band that we were in, and that was just so much fun for me. Yeah, I did grow up Mormon, but it hasn't been a part of my life for over 20 years now. So, uh, that had nothing to do with my decision to do this. I just always loved metal and I always loved the emotion that it gave me. So, when it came down to it, I knew that this is exactly what I wanted to do. Everything I dreamed of when I was a kid. And so I had no problem leaving radio in the dust to get it started.
Well, radio is just a horrible industry. I used to be on the radio myself, and it's such a fucking mess these days, and it's really, I feel, on its way out.
Is it?
A lot of people, I don't know, it's just it's so different, and there's no money. I mean, you can hardly afford, unless
Yeah.
you're Howard Stern or something. I mean, it's the money's just not there.
No, you're absolutely right in that. I mean, it was when I worked at FM radio, I actually made more money than I worked at when I worked in
Oh,
Sirius.
no kidding, really?
Yeah. And then when I worked in FM radio in LA, which I went back to, I worked for a hip hop station. I made more money than Sirius. So in FM, I did well. But the thing is that FM is a dying breed in and of itself at the moment because of these streaming platforms. And I do think that the radio is an art form. And when I was a kid, even in the summertime, I would set my alarm early and listen to the morning radio station for our top 40 or morning radio show for our top 40 station. It was just, to me, they were so funny and they were so much fun. And I subconsciously wanted to do that. So the opportunity came up to do it. I jumped at it. I loved radio, but I've been out of it for a really long time.
Yeah.
I've been out of it for a long time. So I don't know what it's like nowadays. When I was around, there obviously wasn't, I don't even think there was iTunes when I was doing FM radio.
Wow. Yeah.
So I'm an old fart.
Well, and when you grew up in Utah, and is it true that your mom, I think, moved to Utah because she's like a big Donny Osmond fan or something, and that's why you guys ended up covering Crazy Horses, right?
Yep. Yeah. So my mom grew up, yeah, my mom grew up in Wisconsin, and she converted to Mormonism against her family's wishes. She was completely cut off from her family for this decision, but she was interested in the way that the Osmonds grew up in the Mormon religion. So it was really like a leap of, I guess, faith for her. She's not a part of the religion anymore, but that's kind of how she went into it. But yeah, that's how we followed. We did Crazy Horses. My mom, as a kid, I told her I'm going to cover this song someday. And when we did it, I sent it to her, and she was so proud. So probably the most proud she's ever been for me.
And Donny Osmond himself was into it too, right?
Yeah, what a surprise. That was quite an awesome surprise from our management at the time.
Have you met him before or no?
No, not that I can remember.
Well, that's cool that he gave it his approval.
He gave it a big thumbs up. So, so I'm like, all right, this Butcher Babies thing is real. Let's do it.
And you were also, when you were a kid, you were also an accomplished athlete in track and field too, right? Then you go to Moscow or something for Junior Olympics, I heard.
Yes, that's what I did.
Wow.
Yeah. I started track and field when I was a kid, and that's probably the reason I don't play an instrument is because of my athletic career. I started as a kid. I competed in high school, and in high school, I was recruited to compete. In Moscow, and it was one of the most incredible experiences of my life. I'd never felt anything like that before. We get there, and it's just stadium full of kids screaming. This artist named, I think it's Batiste or something like that. He's huge. He's a huge pop star in Russia. He performed, and my parents came, and it was one of the coolest experiences. I took 5th in high jump. I'm a high jumper, even though I'm pretty short, but I'm a high jumper. My nickname was Tinkerbell because I would jump and my legs would go like this up over the bar. So track and field was amazing for me. That was the best. It paid for my schooling because afterwards I went to college. It paid for my schooling. In 2004, I broke my back pole vaulting, and that kind of ended my track career. So
if you didn't have that injury, do you think you would have pursued like a full-time career in athletics, and Butcher Babies might not even be a thing?
Maybe.
Wow.
I don't know because it was, it was the end of my freshman year when I broke it. So, and I was winning. So I don't know. I have no idea what would have happened. I was also a cheerleader in college too, and I really, really loved that. So I don't know. Who's to say? I used to teach cheer camps and all sorts of stuff, but I've always had this love for music, and in my heart, I believe this is always what I was meant to do. So it's hard to say. At some point I would have found it, I think.
Well, it is crazy. Things always seem to kind of work themselves out, and things tend to work out for the best,
Yeah, I mean, the Olympics are going on right now, and it's so crazy to see because, when I was competing, even the regular Olympics, they were not competing to this type of level. So it's pretty incredible watching these athletes nowadays.
The other thing, maybe I'm just an idiot and don't know common knowledge, but the thing that I did not realize you had some of these acting credits that you have, and like My Name Is Earl and 90210 and CSI and all that kind of stuff. I was blown away. I mean, that's big stuff right there.
Yeah, I actually I just filmed another Hulu documentary that's coming out soon. I can't really say, but yeah, I did. I grew up in acting. My dad owns a production company, and so he threw us all in commercials and stuff as kids. And then when I moved to LA and I quit my radio stations there, and started pursuing the music full time, I would do side acting gigs to pay the bills. And they brought me in as Jamie Presley's stunt double for My Name Is Earl, which was awesome.
Yeah, that is.
So, and then they gave me a role at the end of the season, playing like an imposter to her role. But yeah, the acting world is really fun. I did a Netflix show called Slasher just a couple years ago. It's a really gory horror horror-based series. If you like horror, I would say watch that. It's one of the goriest shows I've ever seen. Yeah, it's a part of my life and I can't seem to get rid of it. In fact, on the new thing I did, I had to cover up all my tattoos.
Oh,
It was
did you?
so weird. Yeah, it was so weird. I was like, I feel like 20-year-old Heidi again.
Was this for the Hulu thing?
Yeah,
When does that come out?
I'm not sure.
Oh, you don't know.
Yeah, I don't even think that they are going to be done till the end of the year filming.
Oh, so this is
So,
probably like a 2022 thing or something.
yeah, yeah.
So back to the butcher babies.
Oh yeah.
When you guys first started, I mean, things seemed to take off pretty quick because I think when you guys got signed to Century Media, you ended up on tour with Marilyn Manson, but I think that was before Goliath was even recorded. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, it is.
how
Yeah,
did how did
we
that
got
come about?
well, we had released a self-titled EP prior
Right.
to that, and a music video, and I don't know. uh we had been playing on the strip because we started this band in 2009, and then Carla and I were in the other band for a year prior to that. So I had been touring around the strip for about 5 years, not touring, it's hard to tour the strip, but playing around the strip,
Doing
doing
the
like
circuit, yeah.
doing the circuit. We played a bunch of stuff in um, Southern California. We went to like Ventura. We went to Vegas, where I live now. We went to Utah to play a bunch of shows. We played this festival called the 48 Hour Festival, which was here in Las Vegas, which was our first big festival to play. We played like midday, and it was so much fun and it was awesome. But people were like, what the fuck am I watching? And I think that's probably what caught people's attention. Is it was just so different and something that you're not used to seeing girls behaving badly. And I think that that's kind of um, what the whole lure was at first. And probably with Marilyn Manson, that's probably what caught their eye too. Is just something that was different, because I know that that's really what they aim for. Um, and I'm grateful for that. What we did in the early years was a reflection of that time, and it was super fucking fun. And I can't regret anything that I've done in my career, because it's led me to this point. It's led me to the growth that I've had to become an adult too. So this is it did happen fast, but I am grateful for it.
Was it on the Manson tour? I had heard this story that you had told in another interview about you guys were like on tour and the transmission on the vehicle went out, and so you rented the Penske truck and
Oh,
was
that
that
was a that was a different tour, but yeah, the tranny went out and it was Labor Day weekend, so the only thing to rent was either like a big box truck, Penske, or a convertible Mustang, which I would have driven, but I can't carry all the I can't carry all the gear and the van. So we got the Penske. We slept in the back of the Penske at night, and it was
Oh, I lost you there. I don't know if you can hear me, but I definitely lost you.
there you are.
Yeah, there we go. I don't know what happened. Sorry about that.
Oh,
Oh my God, here we go.
okay. Something's going on.
I can hear you now.
Okay. I don't know what's going on. I have like really good internet. I don't know why this is doing this. Okay, so what did he miss?
You had just gotten the Penske truck and you were sleeping in the back of it.
Oh, I mean, it was stupid. It was stupid for us to sleep in the back of a Penske truck on tour, especially in the South in the middle of August. But but we did what we needed to do to make it happen. We were brand new in the touring circuit, and we knew that we couldn't miss shows. So that's what we did. and it was wild. We got pulled over, and our bass player almost went to jail, but they let us go. So it was
Yeah,
good.
wasn't there like a kidnapping in the area, and they thought that you and Carla were like the victims or something?
Mhm. So
That's so
the
fucking
reason we got pulled over, so we were in Alabama, and two young girls had been kidnapped, which is insane.
young.
And we're on some highway, and we text the guys in the front. We're like, "Hey, pull over. We've got to pee." And so they pull over. We jump out, and we go and we do our business in the bushes. We come back, and they put us in the truck. They close the door, lock it up. They get in the driver's seat and take back off. Well, someone drove by as we were jumping back in, called the police, and said that we were these two kidnapped kids. And so when they pulled us over, it wasn't just one cop car. The whole force showed up.
Oh my god.
As soon as they pull us over, they're like, "Hey, what you got back there?" Our bass player's like, "Furniture." He's all, "You got anything else back there?" He's all, "No." So they had him pop the back, and it was us back there. And it took them a minute to realize that we were not these hijacked kids, that we were not kidnapped. They were like, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" We're like, "Yes, we're two singers in a band, and we broke down. Here's our Facebook page. Here's our MySpace."
Oh my god.
And they laughed about it. And then we call it Saved by Sandy, because Hurricane Sandy came through, and just it was a torrential downpour. And they were like, "All right, we're not going to arrest you guys. We're not going to give you a ticket. Just go get a different vehicle and be safe." We're like, "All right, thank you." So
That's just insane.
yeah, but I remember after one show, it was in Spartanburg, South Carolina. It was The show was so hot. It was probably like 110 degrees with probably 1,000% humidity. I got off stage, and we had been living in the back of a box truck, and I just cried and cried and cried. So when people say that we're bougie for having a bus now, there you go.
Yeah, you guys have really been through it. And then, I mean, things really kind of happened quick. I mean, you toured with Megadeth in this moment, Danzig, I think. I mean, all sorts of crazy tours. And I mean, I feel like since I first heard about you guys, which I think I maybe heard your name for the first time, it was the when you guys did Mayhem Fest. So I don't know, that was what, like 2013 or something.
Yeah, 2013. Yeah.
But I mean, it's just been nonstop, relentless butcher babies, butcher babies, butcher, all the time, which is great. You know, your name's always out there.
Yeah. I mean, it has been a whirlwind. It's been a long time, but it also feels like we just started yesterday. Like I said, last year we were supposed to be celebrating our 10-year anniversary, because we were recording in 2019. And so it's it's just wild to me to even say 10-year anniversary. It's weird for me to say that. We released a 10-year anniversary wine because we were just like, this is crazy. That's longer than most marriages last.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's longer than my first marriage. So it's like it's wild to think about. And yeah, it did happen fast, but there's a lot of sacrifice and a lot of hard ass work that went behind that. A lot of, those moments stepping off stage, putting yourself into a hot, sweaty box truck with a bunch of sweaty ass dudes, to make it to the next show in the middle of summer. There's a lot of stories like that. There's a lot of crazy stuff. During the Mayhem Festival, our generator was out more than not. So we're like driving down the street with all the windows open. We're playing at these huge ass shows, and then we're just like in our bunks, like, like trying to breathe, like rubbing ourselves with ice cubes and shit like that. It's like there's all sorts of crazy stories, getting left in weird countries, and um, you know, things being stolen, all sorts of just weird things, like near death experiences as well. So brakes going out on buses, all sorts of wild shit. But the highlights are of course these amazing tours that we've been able to be a part of. And so I can't wait to continue another 10 years. It's wild to look back and think about it all.
Do you think that part of your success is due to your guys' like sort of DIY boots on the ground attitude and the connection with the fans? Because I remember, oh my God, this was probably, I don't know, 5 years ago. Um, I had like co-proed a show with somebody else with you guys in Kent, Ohio. And I wasn't there, but I heard the story that somehow, I don't know if you guys, I don't think you guys knew these people, but somehow you ended up at the, because the venue's kind of like in a residential area. And supposedly you guys had like ended up at the neighbor's house and you're just like shooting the shit and playing pool and everything. And
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
okay. Yes. We had a day off. We stayed in the area, and these kids, like they're like these college kids across the street. They're like, if you guys want to party, we're over across the street. And we're like, all right. So we got super bored because the city shut down at like 10 p.m. We're like, let's go, let's go across the street and bug these kids. They had gone to bed.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, and we knocked on the door, we're like, butcher babies are here, let's party. And they like called their friends and everyone came over and we played pool all night. And oh my gosh, that was so funny. Yeah, that wasn't that long ago.
Yeah. Does that kind of thing happen a lot on the road with Butcher Baby?
No,
No.
no. Um, no, that's only happened twice, I think. And one of the times was with someone that was a loose friend of one of our old members.
Oh,
But
okay.
that's a one, like almost a one in a million story there.
Yeah, I remember when I heard that story and I was like, holy shit, like that's pretty fucking cool.
I forgot about that. Yeah, those kids were so funny. They're like trying to be hot shots. They're like, yeah, come up next door, come hang out. We're like, free beer.
Yeah, no kidding. Uh, wow, that's incredible. That's a great story. It really is. Well, before we wrap it up, we had talked about all these singles being on a release. Is there a tentative release date for that to happen?
We have another single coming out. Yay!
Oh, wow.
On
All right. When's the new single come out?
August 27th. We haven't really hyped it too much yet. You can hear little snippets of it on our Facebook and Instagram page and Twitter. I mean, any social media account, really. So we have snippets of it out, which we're super excited about. It's called It's Killin' Time, baby. And we have a really fun special guest on it that we'll announce soon.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm excited for that. What else is going on after this Butcher Babies versus Goliath tour? Anything coming down the pipe?
Well, there is talk of maybe Europe, but we'll see. We don't know. Because if it opens up, then we will be there. But if it doesn't, then we won't, obviously. But there's talk. There was a tour planned in for 2020 that was supposed to happen, of course. So then it got pushed to this year. So we're hoping it happens. But if not, we'll be here. We'll be celebrating Halloween. We'll just be hanging out. But we're most excited for Butcher Babies versus Goliath. I'm so pumped. This should basically just be called the Friends Tour, bringing out Infected Rain, Stitched Apart, and of course Kaleido on a couple of dates. With Infected Rain, it's their first time playing in the United States. First time playing at all. They're from Moldova, and their singer actually lives here. She is my neighbor. So
Yeah, I think she's coming on this show here within a few weeks, I think.
oh, good. She's awesome. Yeah, we became really close during the pandemic, which I'm super grateful for.
Weren't
It's
they
kind of
supposed to do weren't they going to be on a different tour in the US and then like COVID hit and it got canceled?
yes, yeah.
Wow. So this
So
kind of
this
worked
will
out.
yeah, so this will be the first time, and then we've been playing with Stitched Apart all over the place for years and years. So we're just excited. It's going to be a bunch of friends hitting the road together, just being silly and playing some heavy metal. Pretty excited about it.
Yeah, I'm hoping to make it out to the Cleveland show. I haven't seen. I think the only time I saw you guys was it was like on the Jaeger stage. I think at Rock on the Range, like quite a while ago. So I haven't. It's been quite a while. And I lost you again. If you can hear me.
Oh my God. What?
I know this is wow, this is rough.
I don't know why it's doing that. It's never done that. How weird. It's never just like kicked me out at all. Okay. So 2014 on the Jaeger stage.
Yeah, so it's been a very long time. So I'm hoping to make it out to the Cleveland show. It's been a very long time.
Yeah, please do. We would love to have you out.
Well, Heidi, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. You can catch the Butcher Babies out on tour, Butcher Babies versus Goliath. You can get tickets at butcherbabies.com. Heidi, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It's really nice to meet you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on the road.